Apple's fall 2026 iPhone lineup is shaping up to be one of the most interesting and controversial iPhone releases in years. And not just because of what's coming, but because of what's missing. We now have dummy models, leaked specs, and reports from multiple reliable sources that paint a very clear picture of what Apple is planning. A foldable iPhone that costs over $2,000 but ships without some features you already have on your current phone. A Pro lineup getting one of the biggest camera upgrades in iPhone history, and a completely new launch strategy that Apple has never done before. One that's going to force a lot of people to make a very different decision this fall. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire iPhone 18 lineup, every model, every leaked upgrade, and every surprising omission, so you know exactly what to expect before Apple takes the stage in September. Before we get into the individual models, there's something important you need to understand about this year's iPhone lineup, because Apple is doing something they have never done before. In September 2026, Apple will only release 3 iPhones: the iPhone 18 Pro, the iPhone 18 Pro Max, and the foldable iPhone Ultra. The standard iPhone 18, the iPhone 18e, and the iPhone Air 2 are all being pushed to spring 2027. That means, if you're someone who typically buys the standard iPhone model, you won't be getting a new phone this fall. You'll have to either spend more on a Pro model or wait until next year. Why is Apple doing this? 2 reasons. First, splitting the launch helps balance chip supply throughout the year instead of everything hitting at once. Second, and this is the more interesting reason, by only releasing the 3 most expensive models in the fall, Apple is essentially forcing customers who want the latest iPhone technology to spend more money. It raises the average selling price during the busiest shopping season of the year. It's a smart business move, but it's also a significant shift in how Apple approaches the iPhone lineup. Let's start with the phones. Most people will actually be buying this fall the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max. Design-wise, don't expect major changes. The iPhone 17 Pro was a significant redesign, and Apple is keeping the same overall look for the 18 Pro. Same titanium build, same camera plateau on the back, same 6.3-inch and 6.9-inch display sizes. But there are some meaningful refinements. The two-tone look on the back is reportedly going away in favor of a more seamless, unified appearance between the glass and the frame. The biggest visible change on the front is the dynamic island. According to dummy models that have already surfaced, the dynamic island on the iPhone 18 Pro is getting significantly smaller, dropping from 20.06 millimeters wide down to just 14.98 millimeters. That's a meaningful reduction, and it's happening because Apple is moving one of the Face ID components, the flood illuminator, underneath the display. This is the first step toward fully under-display Face ID, which is expected to arrive with a future iPhone model. Now let's talk about colors, because this year's lineup is genuinely interesting. The iPhone 18 Pro is getting 4 colors: light blue, dark gray, silver, and a brand new dark cherry. The dark cherry has been described as a deep wine-like red with a slight purple tint, similar to a Pantone 6076. Cosmic orange and deep blue from the iPhone 17 Pro are both being discontinued. But the real story with the iPhone 18 Pro is the camera. Dummy models that surfaced recently confirm that both the camera plateau and the individual camera bumps are getting thicker and bigger compared to the iPhone 17 Pro, about 0.65 millimeters thicker in total. That might sound minor, but in the context of iPhone camera design, this is a significant signal. Apple only makes the camera system physically larger when they're putting meaningfully better hardware inside. What's going in there? The main 48-megapixel camera on both Pro models is expected to get variable aperture, a feature that has never existed on an iPhone before. Variable aperture means you can actually control how much light enters the lens, giving you real control over depth of field and low light performance in a way that software alone can't replicate. The telephoto camera is also getting a bigger lens with a larger aperture, which means better low light zoom performance. And according to multiple reports, Apple is using a new stacked image sensor from Samsung that delivers better dynamic range and faster responsiveness. This is shaping up to be one of the most significant camera upgrades the Pro lineup has seen in years. On the performance side, the iPhone 18 Pro is getting Apple's new A20 Pro chip built on a 2-nanometer process. The current A19 Pro is 3 nanometers. So this is a meaningful step down in node size that should deliver solid improvements in both performance and power efficiency. Apple's supplier, TSMC, has warned that 2-nanometer chips are significantly more expensive to produce than 3 nanometers, which is part of why Apple is reserving the Pro variant of the chip for the Pro models. The C2 modem is also arriving with the iPhone 18 Pro. This is Apple's second-generation in-house cellular chip, and it brings mmWave 5G support for the first time in an Apple modem, as well as satellite internet connectivity that goes far beyond the emergency SOS feature we currently have. Now let's talk about the device that's generating the most conversation, the iPhone Ultra. This is Apple's first foldable iPhone, expected to launch alongside the iPhone 18 Pro in September, and it's going to be the most expensive iPhone Apple has ever sold. Current estimates put the starting price somewhere between $2,000 and $2,500. For that price, you're getting something genuinely new, a book-style foldable with a 5.5-inch outer display when closed, and a 7.8-inch inner display when open. When unfolded, the aspect ratio is close to 4:3, similar to an iPad, which makes it excellent for multitasking, reading, and watching content. It will be the first iPhone to support 2 apps side by side. Gaming will also benefit significantly from the larger canvas. The device is reportedly going to be extraordinarily thin, just 4.5 millimeters when unfolded, which would make it by far the thinnest iPhone Apple has ever made. And that thinness is directly responsible for most of what's missing. Let's go through the missing features, because this is where things get controversial. First, no MagSafe. Dummy models for the iPhone 18 Pro clearly show the indentations where MagSafe magnet arrays are located. The iPhone Ultra dummy has none of those markings. The most likely explanation is that at 4.5 millimeters thin, there simply isn't enough internal space for the magnet array alongside everything else. For anyone who has built their charging setup around MagSafe, wallets, stands, car mounts, this is a significant inconvenience. Second, no Face ID. The iPhone Ultra is reportedly too thin to accommodate Apple's TrueDepth camera system, which powers Face ID. Instead, Apple is going back to Touch ID embedded in the power button. Face ID hasn't been absent from a flagship iPhone since 2017. The idea that Apple's most expensive iPhone ever ships with fingerprint authentication instead of Face Unlock is genuinely unexpected. Third, no telephoto camera. The iPhone Ultra is expected to have just 2 rear cameras, a wide and an ultra-wide. No third lens means no optical zoom beyond roughly 2 times digital zoom. For anyone who relies on the telephoto for portraits, sports, concerts, or any kind of distance photography, this is a real loss, especially on a phone that costs twice as much as the Pro. Fourth, no action button. The volume buttons have moved to the top edge of the device due to internal space constraints. And while the camera control button is still present, the action button that has been a defining feature of Pro iPhones since 2023 appears to be completely absent on the Ultra. Fifth, eSIM only. No physical SIM card slot, similar to the iPhone Air. For international users who rely on swapping local SIM cards when traveling, this could be a deal breaker. So the question Apple is asking buyers to answer is this: is the foldable form factor and the larger display experience worth $2,000 and giving up MagSafe, Face ID, a telephoto camera, and the action button? That's a genuinely difficult question, and the answer is going to be different for everyone. Now let's talk about the standard iPhone 18, which won't be arriving until spring 2027, but has already generated some interesting news. The good news first. The iPhone 18 is reportedly getting 12 gigabytes of RAM, up from 8 gigabytes on the current model. This is a bigger deal than it might sound. More RAM means better Apple Intelligence performance, smoother multitasking, and a device that should feel capable for longer. Nobody expected this upgrade on a standard model. The complicated news: Apple is reportedly making some cost-cutting adjustments elsewhere on the iPhone 18 to keep the price at around $800. According to leaker Fixed Focus Digital, these include a downgraded display panel and a reduced GPU core count in the A20 chip. Apple won't advertise these changes. From the outside, the phone will look similar to the Pro, but under the hood, certain compromises are being made to keep the price competitive, particularly as Apple faces pressure from Android manufacturers dealing with the same memory and component cost increases. So that's the full picture of the iPhone 18 lineup as it stands right now. The Pro models are getting one of the biggest camera upgrades in years. The iPhone Ultra is genuinely exciting, but comes with a long list of trade-offs at a very high price. And Apple's new split launch strategy means this fall is going to look very different from any iPhone launch we've seen before. Everything in this video is based on leaks and dummy models ahead of Apple's September event. We'll have the full confirmed details when Apple takes the stage. I'll have a video up the same day, so make sure you're subscribed. See you in the next one.